Live from San Juan Capistrano, the home of the Swallows and the birthplace of Orange County. It's Capistrano Live.
Capistrano Live, welcome to Capistrano Live, streaming positivity, uplifting lives, and it's all coming to you live at Capistrano. San Juan Capistrano is the place you really should come through, yo. And when you get here, what's what I'm gonna do? Turn you on to San Juan Capistrano. It's Capistrano Live, welcome to Capistrano Live, streaming positivity and uplifting lives, and it's all coming to you live from San Juan Capistrano.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Capistrano Live. I'm your host, Doug Starks, and we have got a fantastic show for you this evening. Coming to you live from San Juan Capistrano. Our goal from the very beginning was to provide an entertainment alternative, a feel-good place where we could sort of set aside some of the concerns that could negatively impact us during this pandemic, and we hope that we've done well with that. We really appreciate you tuning in and connecting with us. Like this page and share it. We've got a great show for you this evening. Our musical guest this evening is going to be the Ghost Jazz Trio. Yep, trio, although tonight there's 5 of them, but you do the math. And also Dr. Stephen Bartz, who's a doctor of chiropractic, who's going to talk to us about anti-aging and some of the things that we can do to remain healthy and mobile and, active. And while we're talking to the doctor, if you have any questions, feel free, if you're joining us on Facebook, to chat with us. Ask a question, and we'd love to engage you and answer any questions you might have. I'm really happy to be doing this show. I'd like to say thank you to Alert the Globe for streaming this out, and also to our technicians here at the Coach House Concert Hall in San Juan Capistrano, Mr. Blake Fogner and Mr. Andrew Witkowski. Couldn't do this without them, and definitely couldn't do it without you guys, so we appreciate your being here. And with that, let's get this puppy started. Let's kick this dog off the porch. First, I'd like to introduce one of our sponsors for this show, and we'll be right back after that.
Let WJ Construction build your state-of-the-art greenhouse. We lead the nation as the premier builders of greenhouses. We offer full-service consulting to assist in selecting the correct building and environment to maximize your grow. We also construct storage units and indoor soccer arenas. So for planning, consulting, building, or rehab, call WJ Construction. Our reputation is your foundation.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please welcome our musical guest this evening, the Ghost Jazz Trio. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ghost Jazz Trio. Absolutely awesome. Thank you, guys. That was wonderful. So, joining us on Capistrano Live this evening is Dr. Stephen Bartz. Dr. Stephen Bartz is a doctor of chiropractic. I met Dr. Bartz when I was suffering from some knee pain. I actually had tore my meniscus. I tore it, not being able to spell it prior to or even afterwards. But, one of the things that was recommended to me by a conventional doctor was that I have surgery. And as a result of working with Dr. Bartz for about 8 weeks, I no longer needed surgery. I have no pain in the knee. I have had no pain in the knee since that time, and it's been a remarkable process. And it was more than just treating my body. A lot of things went into play and what he offered me. And one of the things that impressed me most is a lot of the things that he suggested were things that he actually practiced in his life. So there was a certain security I had in that. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So I know during this time of like quarantine, people are spending a lot more time at home, which means they might be spending a lot more time in the mirror or a lot more time paying attention to things that they haven't paid attention to before, like our bodies, like our mobility, like aging. And a lot of people may not associate anti-aging with chiropractic, but you're here to tell us otherwise.
Yeah, I think anti-aging is a hot topic these days, especially with the baby boomers, but you can never start too early to not age.
Yeah. So one of the things that happens customarily is that we start experiencing limited mobility, if not just mobility problems in our joints.
Yeah, the role chiropractic has to play in anti-aging is multifaceted. Obviously, it's a complex subject. There's a lot of components to it. I thought today we would address just one of those issues and take a deep dive into that rather than try and cover everything.
That's fine. Yeah.
The role chiropractic has to play is interesting. There's a joke in my profession that says, ask 5 chiropractors what it is we do, and you'll get 6 different answers. So
the doctor also does stand-up.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Yeah, right.
Don't forget to tip your waitress.
Yeah, right.
One of the things that obviously I focus on is mobility of the joints. And when you look at what happens as we age, for various reasons, these joints can stop moving. There's a simple adage in physiology which states that motion is life.
Right.
And on a macro level, joints need to move. And that's every joint in your body. I mean, I don't care if it's the joints in your little finger, the joints in your little toe, or the 48 joints you have in your spine. They all have to move.
So, saving the incident of injury, what can make a joint stop moving?
Well, any number of things. Poor posture, repetitive motion, the myofascia, which is the surrounding of all of your muscles and organs, becoming too tight, which are attached to the joints, which then pull on them and restrict motion that way. So what a chiropractor tends to do is basically find where the joints are not moving and unstick them. It's actually pretty simple, but it's actually huge because there's a lot of different problems that can start when a joint doesn't move. The first of which is that when a joint doesn't move, there's increased wear and tear into the joint itself. Because when a joint doesn't move, you have to use more force, hence friction, in order to accomplish any given movement. As consequently, when there's more force and friction into the joint, there's more wear and tear, and this starts the process of degeneration, otherwise known as DJD, or degenerative joint disease.
And that's kind of like the tissue in the joint. That kind of acts like an insulation and a buffer for shock starts to wear away.
Well, if you're specifically talking about the discs, yes, okay. In the spine. What happens is that the joint has to move around a three-dimensional axis, and it's going to be hard for me to do this with one hand, but the joint, well, anyway, you have to be able to move forward, backwards, side to side, and rotate.
Right. Yeah.
And when you can't do that, again, if you try to accomplish that motion and the joint isn't moving properly, you're going to create more force into that joint, which over time translates into breakdown of that joint. Now, when I say degeneration, it's important to note what I'm talking about, because when people hear that word, they often think bone loss. Right. And that's not what it is. That's osteoporosis. Degeneration is actually a kind of a funky bone growth that occurs. If you picture a disc in an X-ray, it's nice and square. But through the degenerative process, you'll actually start getting bone growth that'll start forming lips and spurs.
Like little barnacles on the bone.
Exactly. And given enough time, they can literally bridge one joint to the next. This is the reason, for instance, if, God forbid, you break a bone, and the ortho has to put a cast over the joint. Typically, they won't leave that cast on for much longer than 6 weeks, because if they do, very predictably, you can start to see that joint literally start to fuse.
Wow.
And once that happens, there's no going back.
So what are some of the things that we can do to create, to have joint health and be able to maintain mobility? Like I know with me, one of the areas that I was most concerned with was my knees, for many reasons, but primarily I'm a dancer. I tap dance, so I want my knees to be flexible, and I want them to be reliable and painless. So what are the things that I can do to increase mobility in my knees?
Well, again, from a chiropractic standpoint, we want to get in and mobilize the joint. But we also want to pay attention to the soft tissue structures also. Again, because...
Which means the surrounding muscles.
Exactly. It's one of the interesting things that happens when a joint stops moving is that when a joint moves, this becomes a neurological issue because you're stimulating a type of nerve in the joint called a mechanoreceptor. Mechanoreceptors are part of the central nervous system, proprioceptive system, that tell the brain everything's good. When a joint doesn't move, it's not getting that signal now. Okay. And now the brain is getting a very different signal that something's wrong. And so things start happening that, again, are very predictable. One of those things is that the muscles tend to tighten up around the stuck joint.
To compensate.
To brace or protect the injured joint
Right.
from further damage. The other thing that happens is actually a little more insidious. In different parts of the spine, you have nerve ganglion called sympathetic chain ganglion. Okay, this is part of your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response. Okay. So when you have lack of motion in the joint, this is actually perceived by the body as a form of irritation into the sympathetic nervous system, meaning now you're living in a stress response. You're always running from the saber-toothed tiger that isn't really there.
Right, right.
But that's how your body's reacting to it. Now, stress inherently is not bad. It's how we grow.
Right.
But remember, there's 3 forms of stress. There's emotional stress, there's chemical stress, and there's mechanical stress. This is a mechanical stress. Okay. So if this becomes overwhelming to the system, now, again, you're going to get multi-system issues. So this is why most chiropractors don't really claim that we're, curing diseases or anything like that. But something interesting does tend to happen when you take the stress out of the system. Other things do tend to clear up. For instance, you also have another side to this system called...
When you say taking the stress out of the system, that's the part that chiropractic plays.
Right.
When you come in and you manipulate and start...
mobilizing
and
the
start
joint.
helping the joints increase their mobility,
Yes.
that alleviates a lot of other things. So, and when a patient comes to see you and you do a treatment on that patient and helping them meet the conditions so they can experience more mobility, what types of things does the individual need to do outside of your office to help maintain that increased mobility and to help it along? Because it's not just I come to you and I get adjusted. There are other things that I need to do when I'm not in your office that can help facilitate that increased mobility.
Sure.
What are those things?
Well, obviously, exercise, movement. And again, one of the things we also need to, again, really realize is that the soft tissue role that is played into this is critical. So paying attention to your soft tissue, either through massage or what I specialize in my office, which is active release technique, which is a deep tissue massage. If you look at, interestingly, the older athletes, like Tom Brady and LeBron James, and there's a whole laundry list of these guys.
You just mentioned the older athletes, and both of them, their ages combined, are younger than me. So.
Well, it turns out they're all doing 4 very predictable things to stay in the game and continue to perform at a world-class level. One of them is what they call pliability work. And this is what I do in my office with the soft tissue. Okay, and this goes beyond just adjusting and mobilizing the joints. Pliability work is aggressive, deep tissue massage that almost hurts through the magic of movement. That's what separates this from a passive massage.
So is that would it be safe to say that engaging activities like yoga and also stretching help create that same allowance?
Sure.
So the muscles don't try to compensate and pull against joints.
Sure. And we want to actually make a distinction between the type of exercises that are most beneficial for the body. Now, lifting weights is a great thing to do, resistance exercise of any kind. But what we found that one of the reasons, again, why people age is we dry out. And
So water plays a big part in this.
No, actually, that's not the answer. Obviously, hydration is critical, for a lot of other reasons. But when it comes to hydrating the myofascia, which is critical in aging,
And the myofascia is, again,
it's the
surrounding tissue of the joint.
It surrounds every muscle fiber you have.
Okay.
It surrounds your organs.
Okay.
If you were to take your muscles out of your body, but you kept the myofascial tracts intact, you would still look the same.
Okay.
So the myofascia in injury or aging tends to constrict. And that basically does not, again, let the muscles move the way they normally should, which then influences the joints because they're attached to the muscles attached
And you're
to
talking
joints.
about hydrating that. How do you do that?
Movement.
Through movement.
But through a non-linear axis movement. For instance, what I'm talking about is if I do a bicep curl, that's a linear movement because the muscles are running in a straight line. What I'm talking about are things like Tai Chi, where you're moving through spiraling actions.
Right.
Because if you look at how the human body actually works, it really is more of a spiraling motion that occurs when we engage in any type of athletic activity, for instance. So now back to what can the person do outside of my office. Foam rolling is a great thing to do.
Foam rolling.
Foam rolling. And specifically, foam rolling with vibration. Now, you can roll with a regular foam roller, but if you read Tom Brady's book, they talk about specifically moving with a vibrating foam roller 100 times more effective than just a static foam roller. Hydration is critical for this, but with a caveat. That means that basically you want to drink water with electrolytes in them because you want the water to transport into the cell,
And
not
another
just
thing
flow
that the
through.
water does is when you go in and manipulate a joint, if the part of the mobility problem is if there's toxins that have been unreleased, you start releasing those. They go into the system. They need to be
Exactly.
They need to go out.
For sure.
They need to go out.
For
the
sure.
doctor has a mailing, an email letter, a news blast that he does, and it's very informative. And he goes in depth on a lot of subjects that can help us increase the quality of our daily lives. And he has a website, and it's called mypainfix.com. And the doctor can be found at the South Beach Pain and Injury Center in San Juan Capistrano. Thank you, man. Thank you for what you've done for my body. Thank you for what you're doing for everybody. And folks, look him up. It's definitely worth your while. Dr. Stephen Bartz, thank you for being here today, man.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. And now we are going to sit tight. Join me for a while. And now we're going to go back and join our musical guest, the Ghost Jazz Trio. the Ghost Jazz Trio. Like this page and share it. Thank you, guys. That was absolutely wonderful. So, Capistrano Live, if you haven't figured this out yet, comes to you from the city of San Juan Capistrano. And this city has its roots in equestrian. So, guess what I did? Take a look.
So, San Juan Capistrano's origins are equestrian, and it's a great place to go horseback riding. There are a lot of trails. However, if you've never been horseback riding, it's suggested that you take a lesson, learn how to ride a horse, get comfortable on a horse before you take your adventure on a trail. We're at Gladstone Equestrian in San Juan Capistrano. This is Joan. She is the proprietor and my instructor this morning. Thank you, Joan. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I hope so.
I've been working on my equestrian walk. Here it is.
Oh, you're ready to go. Perfect. Very nice.
Okay.
You got to teach me how to do that, though.
It's called bad knees. So.
So you're used to riding Western all around. So he's really an English horse, so we're going to have you hold your reins English, which is perfect. One rein in each hand. Good. And then we're just going to take him this direction.
Okay.
Point his nose the way you want his body to go.
This is so exciting.
All right, so we start out with a rein in each hand, and it's pretty basic. When you want to go right, you pull on the right rein. When you want to go left, you pull on the left rein. What we're really trying to do is get him to turn his nose the direction you want his body to go.
Okay.
Perfect. And then to go forward, it's pushing with your legs. Stop, release, no leg pressure to stop. Just sit deep in the saddle, pull back, and you're going to slow him down.
When you say pushing with my legs, you mean?
So I don't want you to swing your leg back like this. I want you to keep your leg just right where it's right here, where it's just laying straight is perfect. You're going to squeeze them with the back of your heel. So you hear, and see it works. You hear that term leg a lot with riding. It really just means heel.
Okay.
Okay. And then as far as pulling, you're already doing it right, but you want to pull kind of waist level. So when I pull with my right hand, I'm just going to pull straight back. I don't want to pull towards the middle of my body. I don't want my hand to be high or low. Typically, a novice rider will drop their hand down to pull. Or you'll see all kinds of weird things.
Like handlebars.
Driving a bus.
Right.
He's already like, we're going back to the barn.
Right. Yeah. So this is cool.
Yeah, you look good on this horse.
I do?
Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
When we ride, we like to keep our heel down lower than the toe. There you go. And this does a lot of things for you. It helps to stabilize your leg and keep your leg just securely in one place.
Okay.
When we do come off of horses, almost always you're going to see a rider coming off the front of a horse. So what happens is their heel comes up, their leg goes back, and the body falls forward. So I always, and we have really well-trained horses, but I always tell my riders, if you ever get in a situation where you're uncomfortable, you're going to lift your hands up a little higher and push your heels down and your feet forward, just to make sure you're staying back down in the saddle where you belong. So are you familiar with posting at all?
No.
Well, you're going to be happy to learn posting today on this horse.
Only like in basketball, but no.
He is like riding pogo sticks. He has an enormous trot, yes. So posting you've probably seen, it's when the rider stands up and sits down repeatedly. And we're actually doing this because the trot can be very bouncy. And we're moving up and down in rhythm of the horse's movement. So as his legs are going like this to trot, you're going to be going up, down. So you are moving in rhythm with your horse, which is why you don't get bounced around. Feel wherever your weight is shifting. We don't want our horses leaning. So when we ride, we want to follow what our horse's spine with our spine.
Okay.
When our horse is asked to turn, we're actually going to turn at the waist towards that turn and not lean left or right. So your shoulders are always going to stay level, and you're just going to turn a little bit at the waist towards your turn. Good. without leaning in. There you go. Very nice.
Nice.
And let's go ahead and take him back down the rail a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and start the trot. You will see how bouncy it is, and then we're going to go ahead and go back to the walk and work on posting at the walk.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you just give him a kick to trot, bump him with both feet. You're almost there. Another little kick, and keep steering him. And you can see he's a bouncy boy. Practice that at the walk again. You're just going to stand up and without pushing your butt back, stand up and down. And if you want, you can go ahead and grab that saddle with your left hand. Keep the rein in. There you go. Perfect. Up, down, and come all the way down, and up, down, up, down. Good. Good. There you go. Sit for a moment.
So Joan's going to show me a demonstration on posting, how it's done correctly.
A long time since I've been in a Western saddle. So this is the sitting trot, super bouncy and posting. So I'm just going up and down with this leg movement.
Used to be a quicker process when I was younger.
A little more strict with him about coming off the rail and using that right rein rather than neck reining him. So just tip his nose towards the rail, give him a good kick. There you go. And then just keeping your hands, like think of your hand position right there as home plate. That's where you're going to keep your hands. All right, let's go ahead and try that. And that trot again. Up, down, up, down. You can grab the horn with one hand if you want. Up, down, come all the way back down. You don't need to go up very high and then come all the way back down to the saddle. You're not coming back down. Come down and there you go. There you go. There you go. Good job. Got to touch back down in the saddle. Perfect. Up. Good job. See, it's not as bouncy when you're moving in rhythm with the horse, huh? Isn't that better? You're doing a great job keeping your legs still and your heels down. Very nice. So, up, down. There you go. And this is probably the hardest horse to learn the sitting trot on. You are doing the posting trot. You're doing a great job. Thank you! It's very easy on my body. We can tell from your voice. Billie Jean is not my food. There are definitely a lot more women in this sport than there are men.
Imagine that.
I have to say, at the top, in this industry of almost every discipline in riding, the men do kind of dominate. If you stick with it long enough. And I think it's because the good ones are really the ones who stick with it, you know?
Right, baby.
It's a great sport. You get a lot of exercise. You're outside, and you're working with a horse.
Yeah, and
what could be better?
Exactly. And there's something there's something very natural about communing with other beings. That's really spiritual or cathartic. Is that how I say it? Cathartic?
Yes.
Cathartic?
No, cathartic. Pretty sure you're right the first time.
Okay.
Well, and being able to ride, he's probably, 1,400 pounds? You're riding this animal who is allowing you to ride him.
Yeah.
We have good communication. We have respect for our horses. They respect us, but you need good communication. If they don't understand what you want, they get frustrated. So when you really spend the time and have a good communication with your horse, a good relationship with your horse, it's just the best. There you go. Now don't squeeze anymore because he's already going. All All right, and walk. And we're going to talk about that for a second. Pull back tone, walk. All right, that started out very nice, very nicely. What happened is you started bouncing up and down, and he knew that that was wrong, and he went back to the trot. So the canter is a sweeping motion. You actually stay in the saddle, but your butt's going to kind of sweep forward and forward because your horse moves like this. Every time he goes like this, you're going to kind of go forward. So you just, now don't do it intentionally. This should happen naturally, but I want you to understand what the motion is. You're just going to kind of like you're in a swing.
Okay.
You're going to kind of go, just kind of go forward and back without rising out of the saddle.
Okay.
Right?
All right. That is the Gladstone Equestrian Center here in San Juan Capistrano. And if horses aren't your thing, there's another way you can enjoy a little quasi-equestrian. Check this out. And we're back. I'm here with James Morgan, who is the leader of the Ghost Band Trio, and absolutely, you guys are absolutely wonderful, man. I just love it. I just love it. Welcome to the show.
Well, you have good taste.
Thank you. Thank you. I knew you'd feel that way. We started joking, emailing before we even talked.
Yeah, we should go out and do a little duet, a comedy act together.
I know, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. So how long has the band been together?
Well, it's this particular version's been together about 2 years. Yeah, going on 2 years, and I started the actual Ghost Jazz Trio project about 3 years ago as an experiment. I wasn't a jazz player.
Explain that.
I don't read charts, play by ear, always have. Been playing about 45 years. It's always worked for me. So I just kept doing what I've been doing, and I got into different genres of music as I became interested in it, and tried to put my own spin on it. When I got into the jazz genre, I didn't want to just, obviously, since I don't read, I can't play the fake book or real book stuff. I want to create my own jazz, which is basically free-form kind of music, being creative in the moment with your fellow musicians. It's almost like you're having a dialogue.
Exactly, because it is a language.
Yeah, in the moment. So that's, with these guys, that's really what the concept is. Just, be inspired by the moment, be inspired by each other, and be inspired by the music.
I'm really impressed hearing you say that you don't read music, so you're feeling this music.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, one of the things that I hope happens when people watch this show, and especially people who have a little more time on their hands now than before, is that maybe they'll pick up an instrument that they had an interest in, and they don't necessarily have to be,
Proficient.
Proficient.
Right.
They can just have an ear. They can just love hearing the four chords.
Sit in front of the sunset.
Yes, exactly.
Play your guitar.
Yes.
People will gather. They'll hear it.
Yeah.
Because that's really what music is. If you think about it, music's a language. It's a mathematics. It's many things to, obviously, different people. Yeah. But it's a universal language. And that's why I like it, because it doesn't have a side. It doesn't have a creed. It doesn't have a, it doesn't belong to anything.
Exactly.
And so that's where the freedom is. I'm not a joiner. I don't join gyms. I don't join anything. I don't join groups, parties, whatever. I'm a maverick. I just do my own thing.
Right on.
And people are either on the James train or they're not.
Your train? I thought you said it was a Maverick. There's only C4. Remember those?
Or Opals.
Mavericks, yeah. Oh, man.
We can't do our comedy act here.
Okay, all right. But I tell you, I really love the sound, and I love music for for many of those same reasons, because music reaches people a place where spoken words don't. And it also, jazz doesn't dictate a mood or an action. Jazz is just something that meets you where you are. You can hear what you hear out of it, and it always lands well. Music always lands well. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's for this particular project, we recorded the CD in August and released it. The whole concept of the music was to create something, and I wrote most of the songs during the shutdown because I had time.
Yeah.
And it mellowed me out, the shutdown, because I was busy running around like everybody else. So I wanted to create music that would relax you. You could do yoga or have a glass of wine and watch the sunset while you're listening to it. And it's not going to overpower you. It's not going to control you. Yeah. You can it'll enhance whatever space you're in. Yeah.
I have a lady that I do Reiki with, and I'm going to do a distance session this weekend. Yeah. But I'm going to listen to the CD and see if it would be appropriate for just chilling and just being in the moment.
Opening up the chakras.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, because I don't know if you guys recognize this, but when he mentioned the project, that was my cue to mention, tell us about your project.
I beat you to the cue.
Here, baby.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be the straight man. I'm sorry.
Right? So tell us about the project.
Well, again, like I said, I wanted to create something that was relaxing to listen to. And the project, I was able to find some good players. Aaron Senior, who's on bass, phenomenal bass player. He's played Carnegie Hall. He's done stuff I probably don't even know about. He plays just incredible bass. And then Jack, Nathan on drums from San Diego, great drummer. And I was lucky to get both of them. Now, a funny story is I actually auditioned a drummer and tried to work him into the act. Spent 3 hours with a guy. The night before, I was going to record, or actually 2 nights, and the drums just didn't do it for me. So I called up Jack and went over by myself, played my guitar, showed him the songs, and 12 hours later he's in the studio recording it. And it sounds like he's been playing with us for years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Way to go, man.
Yeah.
Tell us about who's in your band tonight.
So, again, Aaron Senior on bass, plays upright double bass and electric bass. And he's from the East Coast, New York. He's got the whole New York vibe, personality.
He drove out here tonight just for this show, ladies and gentlemen. That's dedication.
Well, he would. That's one thing. He always shows up. He may show up late, but he always shows up. And then Jack he's just a great drummer. He plays in he has his own band called Jack Heart Attacks because he had a heart attack, so he names a band after that.
Nice.
And they're just, they're different genre. They're not jazz players. I didn't want to get jazz players because jazz players are stuck in the whole jazz book thing, and if they look at a guy like me, they're going to go, the guy doesn't read charts, I'm not playing with him anyway. So I got these guys, they have more of an edge to them because they got some rock, they got some funk, and it brings more flavor to it and more pep too. So
I love it. I love it.
And then I have, tonight, I have Joseph Luna joining us on keyboards and sax. I have to mention him. He is...
And flute.
And he's a crooner. He sings Sinatra songs. He's multi-talented.
Really?
Yeah, he's been playing for 40-plus years. And we've done a couple other projects together. A few years ago, we did some touring and stuff. And then the conga player also was in another project about 6-7 years ago with me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'm listening to all these guys play, and there is no weak link in this band. Everybody is sharp.
Yeah.
Everybody is sharp.
Yeah.
You have a website.
Yes. We have the Ghost Jazz Trio Band website. You can go to Facebook, Ghost Jazz Trio Facebook. We're on Reverb Nation and Twitter, obviously. Got to be on that. And we do a lot of local venues. We're playing the 22nd at Nick and G's in Rancho Santa Fe.
Oh, cool.
We're playing at the Roxy in Encinitas on the 23rd, Friday. And then we're playing on the 1st at the Landings in Carlsbad outside the patio at the airport.
Nice.
And then we're playing on the 14th at Bellamy's in Escondido. So we're getting booked up.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great that you're finding actual places to be.
Yeah.
People love
and we're
it,
here.
Yeah.
Iconic, one of the most iconic places you can play. when did this place open?
This place is celebrating its 40th year this year, and this has the dubious distinction, the Coach House Concert Hall, of being the oldest concert venue in the country that has never changed hands.
Wow.
So, yeah.
No,
It's dubiously distinctive.
It's great play here.
Yeah.
And the engineers, everybody's so organized and great vibe.
Yeah,
we love it. We're having a great time.
I love this place. Keep your eye out for the Coach House Concert Hall. Look it up on the website. It's an interesting place. When we open, you got to be here. It's a great place to see an intimate show. And hopefully you'll be here one day playing here.
I would love to have the Ghost Jazz Trio open for a nice marquee name. Come and warm up the crowd for 45 minutes.
So how many people do you think you can get in the Ghost Jazz Trio? You think maybe 11? You think you can do that?
I was trying to get, like I said, I was trying to get the orchestra in, but they wouldn't fit in my car.
Exactly, in the Mavericks.
Yeah, so in the Maverick, yeah. So, but the reason I have Joseph here, and you know this, is because the CDs, when you have a trio, you don't have a rhythm section behind you when you're soloing. And I wanted the melody and the solo to sound solid. Yeah. Yeah.
And solid it is.
Yeah. So, and Joseph just worked into the act the last couple days. So it shows you how good this guy is.
Very. I'm impressed. Yeah. I'm impressed, man. And it has been very fun talking to you. I feel there's just like there's a comic undertone. We could really tear this stuff up. James Morgan, the leader of the Ghost Jazz Trio Band. And you like comedy?
Yes.
James, you're going to love this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an excerpt from the act of a comedian named Rick Overton, who is one of the most brilliant comics around today.
Actor. Great actor.
And great actor, director. Rick does it all.
Yes.
But he's wonderful. Please watch this clip from Rick's act. Mr. Rick Overton.
Yeah, my uncle just passed away. No, he didn't, but fuck, he just hangs on, and it's just driving me crazy. Looking up at the fuck up, you know, talking, I like looking like recognizes shapes like a baby, but come on. Anyway, we all got together and talked and said, Will, Schmill, we're just going to start slowly filtering things out of the estate. And, well, here's something wild that happened. I got this really cool painting, pastoral scene with a barn and a hill. It looks kind of like an Andrew White. And I turned it over on the back. And there's an old Civil War letter stuck into the frame. And, well, I got it right here. And it's amazing. Some of the parallels from that time till now, it's really remarkable. And it's funny how some things never change. I'm going to read it in what I think his voice might have sounded like. And, oh, no, I wasn't there. But I'm going to try to characterize it. Forgive me if I got it wrong. The seasons are changing now. The golden leaves remind me of your flaxen hair. The war has continued to devastate this beautiful land, which was once whole. I can only assume that the rest of my division is now dead. Good men gone, buried in this trodden soil. I do truly miss you, my beloved Clara. I sleep and dream of the time when you and I were in the orchard behind the Parsons property. You playfully threw an apple at me and I threw one back, and before we knew it, we were both rolling on our backs and laughing, completely covered in bruises. And how I long to be there with you now. I share my tent with a man named Hewitt Keyes. He hails from Virginia and is an estimable cook. His division was slaughtered at Clayton's Bend. Keyes spends his days in the surrounding woods gathering roots, tubers, and occasional small game. He makes an adequate stew, and on these things we subsist, as our last orders were to wait at this outpost until our commanding officer returns. My deepest fear is that our captain has been killed, or has been misinformed that we are dead. But as our orders state, we will wait at this position. These days are unbearably long. Now I must pause and go forage for tinder wood to make a fire. Keyes has returned with what meager edible things remain in our vicinity, a basket of wild mushrooms. What the war has not taken from the land, Keyes and I apparently have. I will put pen back to paper once we have supped upon the last of the food. Oh, how I long for one of your delicious pies, my beloved Clara. It is now dark, and our meal is done. I write to you by the light of a candle fashioned from boot wax. It burns poorly and smells of printing press oil. The mushroom soup was at first abhorrent to the palate, but then seemed to transform. As if by conjurance of magic into a confection of a substantially higher order. My stomach is uneasy from it, though. I must set my pen down now. For the candle's glow is more brilliant than I have ever seen it before. I feel strange, and I hope that I have not been poisoned by one of the many different mushrooms cooked in haste. I really must set my pen down now. The candle has become a small sun in the middle of my tent. Oh, Clara, Clara, Clarabelle! When will I get to ring that little bell of yours? That last statement was uncharacteristically inappropriate, and I hope that you will forgive me this transgression. I am setting this pen down now so that I can feel the texture of my beard. Pretend that I am touching your... Once again, I'm begging your forgiveness. My tent is breathing incidentally. It is morning now, and Keys is outside. He spent the night telling me of his daring escape from the enemy by hiding under a pile of dead soldiers. His grim tale did not bring me to tears. I began to laugh. And then Keys began to laugh, and we laughed and laughed and laughed until we vomited. And then laughed at the patterns our vomit had formed on the ground. Keys is currently sitting in a tree. He is completely nude. He claims that the soil under our feet is made up of everything that has ever died. I saw him climb the tree with the speed and skill of a squirrel, and am a different man for having done so. I remain here in the tent, which has now grown to the proportions suitable for a traveling circus. I no longer question these things. Perhaps a testament to mankind's capacity to simply accept and even embrace the absurd. Sweetest clarinary bobbly-boo! It occurs to me that the odds of you ever receiving this letter are poor at best, so I'm just going to let the quill do as it will in my hand. Uniform. Oh, uniform. Unified form. Pistol piss, which has taken its toll. Infantry. Infants who must try. Civil War. They kill you with tea and scones. I only hope that these words will carry the same depth of meaning to someone who has not enjoyed a bowl of our soup. Oh, angelic I
imagine myself beneath your hoop skirt, watching my pudendum grow beneath you, hoisting you in the air like a bumbershoot. I must pause now. Indians are here. These Indians are quite social and seem to have the ability to appear and disappear into thin air depending on how strangely I'm feeling at the moment. The elder has just informed me that Keys' new name is He Who Is Naked and refuses to come down from the fucking tree. Keys insists that his real name is Oakleaf and cannot come down until the rest of his brothers have fallen. The elder has just named me Sweating Deer. He's vanished again. My vigor is boundless, and I am compelled to run through the woods. I have abandoned my post. Fuck this war. I feel light. Once again, I must set my pen down, as my writing is found to be lacking while leaping over rugged terrain.
Clara, my head is free of the vapors which possessed it before. And I release you to find another love, dearest one, as I evidently find myself to be an established member of high society here in Paris. Though I have no recollection of learning one word of French, I have somehow talked my way into the heart and home of a woman who permits me into every last single place on her person. Now, I will miss holding hands and the long strolls that we took in the park, but this is clearly better. Bon vie, Sweating Deer. Oh, thank him. I don't know.
The Best Western Plus Marina Shore Hotel Dana Point takes pride in courtesy, cleanliness, and customer service. A multi-award-winning hotel that rates higher than the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Beach in customer satisfaction, paying special attention to comfort, luxury, and relaxation. We also use the most advanced disinfecting technology for your safety. So for your family vacation, staycation, honeymoon, or just plain getaway, come to the Best Western Plus Marina Shores Hotel Dana Point. Why would you go anywhere else?
Why would you? Why would you? Like this page and share it. Thank you for joining us on Capistrano Live. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to re-present to you James Morgan and the Ghost Jazz Trio.
That was called Brazilian Sunset.
European movie music.
Root of it all.
About 120.
Hey, good morning. My name is Scott Schmidt, proud owner of San Juan Photo and Digital with my lovely bride, Diana, with Accent Portraits by Diana. We've been serving San Juan and the South County communities for just about 35 years now. We're here to help. We're located at 32281 Camino Capistrano, San Juan Capistrano, in the Vaughn Shopping Center. Our phone number is 949-661-5668. And the website is sanjuanphoto-digital.com. We are doing restorations. We're probably doing more restorations of old photos, faded, torn, chipped, or you just want a copy. Bring them on in. We'll make them brand new. San Juan Photo and Digital. Miles of Smiles. Accent Portraits by Diana. Come on down. We're a family business. We live here. We want to help you. Thanks for your support. Hey, good
Let WJ Construction build your state-of-the-art greenhouse. We lead the nation as the premier builders of greenhouses. We offer full-service consulting to assist in selecting the correct building and environment to maximize your grow. We also construct storage units and indoor soccer arenas. So for planning, consulting, building, or rehab, call WJ Construction. Our reputation is your foundation.
All right. So that almost concludes another episode of Capistrano Live. I would like to thank our musical guests, the Ghost Jazz Trio. Don't count. Just know it's a trio. Also, Dr. Stephen Bartz, comedian Rick Overton. You guys, and also Gladstone Equestrian. That was a lot of fun. Check them out. You want to take a trail ride? Go take some lessons from Gladstone. Awesome establishment. And I would like to indulge on you gentlemen, and maybe we can do a tune together. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank the Coach House Concert Hall for allowing us to do this show here. We'd like to thank alerttheglobe.com for streaming. We'd also like to thank our technicians, Mr. Andrew Kowski and Blake Fogner. Thank you, guys. We could not do this without you, and we want to thank you for watching. Like this page and share it. Tell your friends about it, and we'll see you next time. Our guest next week is going to be the Blessed Band. Tune in. Check them out. It's going to be good. Let's do this. Yesterday my life was filled with rain and sunny. You smiled at me and really eased the pain. Now the dark days are gone and bright days are here. My sunny one sign so sincere, sunny one so true. I love you. For the sunshine bouquet and sunny. Thank you for the love you brought my way. You gave me your all in all. Now I feel like I'm 10 feet tall. Sunny, one so true. I'm in love with you. James Mason. Truth that you let me see, Johnny. Thank you for the facts from A to Z. You see, my life is torn like a windblown sand, but a rock was formed when you held my hand, Johnny. One century, I'm in love with you, Sonny. on your face. And sunny, thank you for that gleam that shows this grace. You are my spark in nature's fire. You are my sincere desire. And sunny, one so true, I'm in love with you. Sunny, yesterday my life was filled with rain. Sunny, you smiled at me and really eased the pain. You gave to me your all and all. Now I feel like I'm 10 feet tall. Sunny, one so true, I'm in love with you. Oh, sunny, one so true, I love you. Oh, sunny, one so true, I'm in love with you. Yeah, I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you. Yeah, I'm in love with you. Hey, sunny, thank you very much for joining us on Capistrano Live. There goes Jazz Trio. Once a true, I'm in love with you.